Hi guys, I'm Chris. Welcome to this week's tutorial. Let's draw together.
In today's tutorial, we'll be creating a cute cat in Procreate, and we'll cover how to start with simple shapes and how to paint their vibrant eyes. And I've created a free color palette for you as always for this tutorial, so you can just hit the link in the description below to download and install into Procreate. We'll be using all free brushes, my favorite sketch, monoline, and watercolor brushes, and you can find a link for them in the description below as well. I've created a new canvas using the spec seen here, and we're all ready to go. Okay, so I'm just going to start by using my favorite sketch, and I'm just going to use this dark brown color here, and we're just going to start by doing a triangle first. Cats are a little bit angular, so we're just going to start with that, but that's just sort of the sitting position we're going to start with. So I'm going to have kind of like a sail, almost this type of triangle, and then I'm going to have a circle at the top, and that's where their head will go. And then I'm just going to round out this bit at the end, so we don't need that bit of the triangle. Okay, so the cat's going to be sitting. Here's another triangle for you. Of course, their ears. So it's going to be about there, and then other little side bit is going to be here. And the cat's face, I'm just going to bring this so it's more three-dimensional. It's going to be about there. Their eyes are going to be like so. Okay. Then the tail is going to just kind of come across here. They will be, their front paw leg will be here. Their back leg here. Their haunches here, that sort of, we can do another rounded shape there. So that will kind of start to make sense. And we can just bring in the chest here. It's going to be a little bit angular. Doing this quite rough here, and that'll just kind of tuck in like that, and then their little paw, and that will come in front. Okay, so let's just focus on the face a little bit. I'm going to have their nose area here, where their mouth and nose are. Like so. You can see that. And their eyes. Just going to make a circle and another circle. It will be a smaller one, and it also gets sort of cut off here a little bit. Just going to draw a line just at this angle here. And they're not going to be sleeping, don't worry. Just kind of have it, that's where the points are going to be, so it's not going to be a perfect circle. Like so. Okay. So you can see we already have some basic shapes. Already sort of looks like a cat, a little bit of a funny one, but we can start perfecting this a little bit more. So then I'm just going to go into my layers, and I'm just going to turn down this layer opacity by clicking on that N and turning it way down to maybe about 13%, somewhere around there, and then hitting the plus sign to create a new layer, so I'll do my better sketch over top of that. All right, so we're just going to go and start refining this a little bit. I'm just going to start with the basic outline and just start with the ears and stuff. I'm still on my favorite sketch, and I'm at going to be around 37%. I'm just going to kind of be a little rough with this, just get it kind of sketchy. I'm not going to do full fur type thing, it's just going to be a little bit more illustrative right now this time. And then just get the little hairs. This won't be so realistic, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And get that little hair on the other side. Okay, so I'm just following my guides and then just making some decisions. The back is going to be a little bit curved, of course, so we'll bring that in. And scoop around like we did that circle there. Maybe a little bit too much there. I'm just going to keep following this line. We have the line of our tail that we made. doing something like that. It's probably good. Okay, and then I'm going to just bring in this leg here, sort of like I said, that upper part of the leg, the haunches. I don't have it perfectly round. Maybe a little squared off there. Great. Okay, and I'm just gonna bring in the chest how we had it. Maybe give it a little fur lines. Bring that leg straight down. Okay, and then we had the feet here. So that's the back foot. And then the little front paw here. Okay. All right, and then let's work on this face. So I'm just gonna have it come down. It's not gonna obviously be a full circle there. Let's just see. I'm gonna bring this in more. So, and just going where I place the nose here. Kind of like a T-shaped for now. I guess, oops. Kind of like that. And then the little mouth is just gonna be little lines here. Trying to make it look somewhat happy. So just have this side, the right side, a little bit shorter because the head is tilted to the right. And then I'm just gonna have a little line there for this little chin. Let's just get in these eyes here. I did the ones before a little bit too lengthy, so let's just shorten that up a little bit. So that fits in there. Sorry, that line is a bit thick. All right, and I want a little cheek coming around like that. So we'll just get this other eye going here. There we go. Something like that, and then we can just accentuate the little, I don't even know what that's called, but little cheeks where the little whiskers go. All right. Okay, I think that looks pretty good for a first run. Okay, so now we're ready just to delete that old sketch layer. So we have this to work with. I think that's pretty good. We can just add the eye pupils here. Gonna make them that cat shape. You can make them circular if you'd like. Oh, that doesn't look like she's looking at me. Hold on. I think that's probably good. All right, yeah. Looks a little bit mischievous, I think. Awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna go in and actually change the background color. And let's just make it this, just sort of a gray color for now. Perfect. So then I'm just gonna turn this down and make this sketch layer. I know I'm doing 3 sketches today, but I did want to show you the steps with the shapes first. But I'm going to go and just make my lines a little bit more interesting. Just take more time with it and just bring in some of the hair. Again, I said we're not going to do a ton of hair, we're not, but I do want just my outlines to be showing that it is fluffy. So. And we'll do things like, that's just a little bit dark at the base there. I want this one to be the more dominant in the forefront, this line a little softer in the back. Just going around, doing these little details like this is going to have a little bit of thickness here. Maybe you'll see that there'll be a little bit more hair around the edges there. Good. You could, of course, just move on to painting. If you didn't want it outlined, you can just have it more of a watercolor painting or something. That's totally fine too. Whatever you feel like the style is going to be today. Not sure that that line is quite right. Let's just maybe make it a little bit more subtle. All right. Can have some, every single line doesn't have to be a furry line. You can have some more bold lines too. Just really want to emphasize this curve shape. A little bit thicker at the bottom just to give that some kind of grounding it to the floor. Oops. Alrighty, let's look here. So I'm just gonna give her some eyelashes, because why not? Fancy cat. And just be a little bit thinner on the outside there, I think. Just a little flick. Maybe that's a bit much. There. And just giving a little outline, maybe a little indent there. Sort of a tear duct. Well, it is the tear duct, but I'm gonna just give that a little emphasis. And then, oops, maybe a little bit too thick. I think I like the angle more, a little bit more angular on that. Seems to look a little bit better. I'm just going to have this fairly light, this part, and then I'm going to do the little dots here. Great. And I'm going to go and use this dark pink. Fill this in. I might outline it actually. Let's see. Let's just like a darker pink here. Just keep that sort of illustrated style that I'm going for. Okay. So I'll add that for you. Right, and then the eyes, I'm just gonna go to this and I'm just gonna make them a dark gray. And we'll fill these in. Actually, I kind of want to be below this layer, so I'm just going to select the layer below, hit the plus sign, and fill that in and keep it a little bit sketchy. All right, looks good. Okay, so we can turn off that sketch layer below, and now we can go and fill in. So I'm just gonna hit the layer below, so just right at the very bottom, just gonna grab a beigey color, almost white. Let's just see how that is. Yeah, that'll be nice. Okay, and I'm gonna use my monoline, and I'm just gonna fill this in. Again, as you know, I make a lot of clip art images, so I like my images to have solid backgrounds so you can put them on whatever you want. And that way it just makes it easier for you when you're making PNGs, that if you're using a brush, like a watercolor brush that's a little bit more translucent than it, then you don't have any background colors bleeding through. So that's often why I like to fill my stuff in. But if you're just doing a painting, you don't need to do this. Exactly. You can just paint in with any old brush, like the watercolor brush. But for a more solid effect, this is a good idea. All right, hopefully that's all filled in. Perfect. Okay, so now why don't we work on the eyes a little bit. I'm just gonna create a new layer over top. I'm gonna grab this light blue, still with the monoline. We're just gonna fill this in. Actually, sorry, I'm gonna use this bright, this bright blue first. Thinking something looked a little off. All right, so just gonna fill that in so you can drag it in there. Same with this. Could make these yellow or green, whatever color you want. And then I'm gonna put a clipping mask over top and use this dark blue. And I'm gonna go to the watercolor, select that. My brush is at about, I don't know, 5–6%. At the top, I'm just going to do a layer there. And then I'm going to move back a little bit and do another layer so it's a little darker. Good. Just so it's sort of overlapping. I can make my brush smaller too, maybe down to 2%. You can have a little bit more accuracy with it if you want. And then maybe another smaller bit there. Okay, and then I'm going to take my smudge tool, and I'm going to have it on, where are the freebies? On the watercolor as well. And just, oops. And bring my size down to about 2% and just sort of blend those all together so we're having a gradient effect. I'm going to bring that up a little bit more. I actually have my opacity at about 80% too, but you can see what works best for you. I'm going to keep it a little bit painterly here. Not super like 100% smooth. And then I'm going to come in and get this light blue color, still stay at the same 2%. Bring that in here in the lower portion of the eye. Grab that smudge. Maybe bring it down a little bit smaller again. Might have to work on this a little bit just to build it up, especially if you smudge a little bit too much. That's okay. Cool. I think that looks good. All right, and then I'm gonna go on top on this layer, the eye layer, the iris or the pupil. So I'm gonna come in and just add another clipping mask and just grab the black and paint over top here so that iris gets that shadow as well. And we can blend that out a touch too if you want. Just kind of see how it goes, how far I need to go down. Sort of match there. Okay, great. You can see how that's sort of set in now. Then we can go, just grab the white, grab our favorite sketch, and I'm going to just add a new layer on top and just do a little light source action here. Let's see what we want to do. Do we want two or just one? Let's see. You just want to mirror it on the other side in the same place. Great. Okay, so now let's do a little bit of painting on the body. So let's go to the body layer and just hit that plus sign, tap on it, clipping mask. So all this will stay within here. So I'm going to just grab this medium brown color, go to the watercolor, and I'm just going to make up a pattern. This isn't going to be overly detailed. Going to be at about, let's say 15%. I'm just going to hold my brush down the whole time. That way it will be a smoother finish, and I can have the ear and just sort of coming in the side of the cheek here. I think that's the pattern we're going to have. That should be okay. I'm gonna erase, bring my eraser smaller, just get in here because I don't want this to be this color. Yeah, I think that's good. And then I was trying to decide what I want because it's going to be a tabby cat, I think, or sort of a splotchy, splotchy sort of tabby cat. So we'll have one little sort of a triangular shape here, and then another one that kind of comes around here. And so we kind of see the paws a little bit more. I'm just gonna have this, and then we'll have a white end. And I can just go in and clean up these edges a little bit. Okay, so now we can go again with the same brush, just add some more detail, bring it down to 5. Here, actually I'm gonna bring the opacity down to about 65. Brushes at about 6. Just do a few, just gonna come around the edges just to give it a little bit of shadows. Actually, maybe I'll bring my brush up a little bit. You can play with it, see what you think. There. Just had to erase what I'd done because I kept getting too dark. And we can use this just to give it a little bit more form. And here there'll probably be a little bit of a shadow. And at the bottom of the feet. Oops. Just kind of rubbing the edges. Seems to work nicely like that. Be a little bit more shadow there. Maybe we'll bring our brush down and just do a little bit in here. We can take our smudge tool and just soften it a little bit too. Maybe set these eyes in a little bit more. Just use your smudge tool again. Good. Okay, I was gonna make some more patterns, so let's see if this works. Just trying to think, I haven't really studied the patterns too much at the moment, but I just want to give them a little stripes. Just using a really light touch. Again, this obviously isn't a realistic cat, so you can really do whatever you want with having fun with the patterns and stuff. Just really just using different pressure on my pen just to vary up the lines a little bit. Oops. All right, that looks good. And then let's grab this light pink. And obviously this is not realistic, but let's just give them little pink cheeks. I'm just gonna soften it a little bit with my smudger just so it's not too circular. Still fairly circular, but just a little bit. You can darken it up again if you want. And we'll use the pink again. I'm gonna fill in the ears a little bit. I'm just softening this one edge. Oops. Just softening that as well. All right, how are we looking? Okay, I'm actually gonna go up to the top layer, add a new layer, grab that dark brown, and back to my favorite sketch, still at about 35%, and just gonna give her some whiskers. Trying to see how bold we want to go with these. Whiskers are always fun. I'm not sure if I love how I crisscross these. I'll try that again. That's why it's nice to do it on a separate layer, so if you mess up, you can do it again. There, it's probably better. And we can add a few more details. Maybe we want a little bit more lashy here. Maybe I want to go a little bit darker, have the gray come in with these lashes. Actually, that's going to have to be darker than that, so maybe a little bit closer to black. Just add a little bit more depth here. Sometimes it's nice to go in and just add a few dark touches here and there. Same with light, just to vary up your lines a little bit. Just give a little pop, just gives a little extra something. trying to think if I want to darken these eyes just a little bit. See if we duplicate them. That might be enough. So I've duplicated the pupil layer. I think I like that better. It's a little bit deeper. So I'm just going to go back to this shadow layer here and just grab this medium pink color back to the watercolor. Just going to have this a little bit, I'm going to bring it up to 8%. Have this a little bit deeper here just because we have a little bit of a shadow effect. I think that's good. And we can give her a shadow too. So down to the last layer, add a new one. Let's just use this dark gray. Still on the watercolor, maybe about 10%. Actually, maybe I want this a little bit bigger. 20%. And you can soften that a little bit if you want. There's a sponge tool, just the edges. And there we go, a little illustrated kitty. So I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial, and if you did, please hit that like button, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell icon so you can be notified of new tutorials just like this one in the future. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I love you, and I'll see you in the next one.